I'm back in Desolation Cove for another day, and today it looks a little bit more like Vancouver Island. The tide's coming in right now, and if you look around you can see that it's a very different place at high tide. Behind me here, these rocks, these cliffs here, when the tide comes in it shuts off access to the rest of the beach. You can't get beyond this when the tide is up. Yeah, this gets shut off. In about a half an hour, you won't even be able to stand where I'm standing, and you'll be able to walk until here. Now my camp is back in here, and let's take a walk back. At high tide, there really isn't much to do here. This is the time when the tide was in like this that I would sit in my shelter, saw wood, lay on logs. I did a lot of laying on logs. If I wasn't sawing wood, there wasn't really a whole lot to do. I had all kinds of little projects I would work on, like my gill net. I'd work on at high tide. Yesterday I was here and I found my fish hook. This is the hook I caught everything with. And as the tide goes down today, I'm going to do some fishing. Just for old time's sake, because I have my pole here. But this hook is really dull. It's rusty, and I'm going to bring it back to life. I used to do this a lot. Sharpen my hooks, because when the hooks were sharp, they worked. If I let the hook get dull, it's just frustrating. I'd get hits, but I wouldn't land the fish. So here I'm taking that barb, and I'm going to sharpen it up. Now I just use any old rock off the beach for that. But I'm thinking, I've got my possibles pouch in there in my pack, and I got some actual sharpening gear. And I think I'm going to switch gear. Bringing a sharpening stone was one of the 10 one of the items we could have selected, but it would have counted as one of our 10 items. I just couldn't see myself sacrificing an item for a sharpening stone. When I made several on the beach with out of the rocks, but it was hard to get them aggressive. I couldn't get a stone that was aggressive enough to sharpen my knife. When these stones are ground flat, I grind them against each other. When they're ground flat, they're very smooth, polished. Tell you what, I'm really liking the tarp here on the beach. This is nice. If I had this, I would have spent a lot more time out here, but I only had the 2 tarps, so one was my water catch, the other was my shelter. And if it was raining, I couldn't work out here. I'd just be in my shelter. I'm going to grab some of the sharpening gear out of my pack and do this right. Let's see what I got here. Compass. I knew it. Those little U.S. Army keyring type sharpeners. Oh, here we go. This thing's away. This is a decent little sharpener. This is a 400 grit synthetic stone. It was from some kind of industrial milling machine. I got a guy at Blade Show was giving these away. You talked to him for a while, and he had a box of them. He'd hand you one, and nice guy. And I took that and I taped it to a ceramic rod. So I've got a fine and a smooth, and I keep this in the bottom of my possibles pouch. And that will make short work of this hook. It's already got a nice point on it. But this is the kind of boring stuff I did at high tide. At high tide, there's nothing to do around here. Sleep, listen to the rain hit the tarp. Well, try to sleep. Saw wood. Tie gill net. You know, when that gill net was finished, I was actually kind of sad. I was like, what am I going to do now for my high tide project time? High tide's like arts and crafts time with Dave McIntyre. My other high tide project was my box trap. I had day one, I find this blue crate down at the end of the beach there, where those rocks were. There's this blue crate. I pick it up. It's like a laundry basket, but with really rigid material, and it had Japanese writing all over the rim of it. They melted into the rim, these Japanese characters and things. And I believe it was like a box they would carry fish in or something. It wasn't for laundry. Way too heavy duty for that. It wasn't like a household item. It was like it's something you'd find in a warehouse or a food processing center or something. Anyway, the thing floated, and I closed off the top of that as a box trap. The trouble was that I put it out here. Everywhere I mounted the thing, it was in the surf, and I was afraid it was going to get beat to crap. That's coming along nice. We'll focus on that. It's that shiny end on it. Now if I go fishing with this hook today and lose this hook, that would be horrible. Because I really want this hook on my Alone Stuff display. I've got a display in my house of all the things I made here. I should probably do a video on that at some point. I probably should have done a video of that on some point like a year ago, but I didn't. I'm going to find me some limpets, and when it gets time to fish, I'm going to go fishing with my fishing pole. Same one I used on the show. I could not believe it. I walk up here and it's there. It's just, you know, the stuff they left here was, you know, it's just typical beach debris as far as anyone else is concerned. You look at it, it's, you know, all the other stuff washed up on this beach. There's a boat float, like a line float over there that I noticed they took the boat bumper. I actually had a white boat bumper, which was in perfect condition, and I think somebody grabbed that. Or maybe it floated away, I don't know. The other thing I never made here, which I really wanted to if I had the time or the inclination, was a bow drill. Because cedar is really good wood for a bow drill. And I've got a piece back here. I'm going to knock one of those out in a minute. Yeah, that's nice now. Look at that. That's nice and sharp. That is ready to fish.